time and you have a lot of opportunities to dive onto it. The other big thing that you can look to do is just play compositions that are going to ignore it. You can play even better team fighting compositions because while Kennen provides AoE crowd control, he really needs to index into heavy AP if you want to be a major damage threat at the same time. And EG don't even want to deal with it. They're just going to be banning it straight away.
All those points out the window. EG says, nope, we're trusting Kangas' judgment on this one. We're just taking him off. We do not want to deal with that Kennen in the top lane. I think this is the best answer right now because Jenkins has shown over multiple splits that this is a great pick for him. But also the Hecarim ban on the blue side, interesting to see, whereas the Renekton taken off the table here. Odd also on the red side. Typically I see red sides leaving that Renekton up because they try and grab that with something like an AP jungler if they can on that red 1, red 2, but I guess respecting Tony Top's ability to pilot that champ.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is, well, one, the Kennen ban comes through because Matt played with Jenkins for a long time. The current coach for EG Academy, very used to playing alongside him, so like, yeah, no, we're going to take him off of it. But the Renekton red side ban is a little bit surprising. As you said, it's very good in trying to set up a lot of these junglers. But there's one champion notably absent from the bans, and it is going to be Pantheon once again. Wasn't banned by blue side, wasn't banned by red side, and yeah, okay, good. EG are going to be picking this up, and they have a lot of flexibility with it, and wow, Camille, hey look, we're not getting the Nahor Renekton today, it might just be Camille versus X for most of the rest of the day.
Hey, I'm all for it. I like watching Camille. I think she's very fun. I like seeing the Camille paired with the Pantheon, actually, because, again, it's just so much dive potential. But speaking of dive potential, they got the Camille paired with the Kai'Sa. These are two champions that love to work together in tandem to lock down members that are caught out in these team fights, caught out in these side lanes, and really scrap with that double pair. Answer the Jax.
Right. Okay, already I'm liking this a lot because EG have picking up a composition that can actually withstand a lot of the dive in the Pantheon and the Jax, and they can scrap pretty effectively. And Xayah, despite the fact that her numbers haven't been looking particularly good in terms of her damage output, is one of the few AD carries that is able to actually itemize crit, which is becoming strong again, as well as be self-sufficient. The only other AD carry that's even kind of like that is Ezreal, but he doesn't really want to build this critical strike. He just wants to stay so far away, where Xayah can actually stay in the thick of it for a long period of time. And TL, they are very heavily indexing on the dive, so both team compositions, very clear identities already, and we'll see if they can round them out in effective ways.
Yeah, despite the fact that EG are saying, okay, we're going to have this Xayah to stay safe, Team Liquid are still confident to lock in Galio-Camille combo plus the Kai'Sa. We've seen some dirty things happen with these three champions, and we'll see if Team Liquid can pull it off here. I like the TF ban. This makes a lot of sense, because this is another one of those that can help answer a side lane play if the Camille Galio do try to go for that combo. And I think that trying to pinch that mid lane pool a little bit more could be crucial for Team Liquid, because they could also then grab a priority mid laner and just try and pinch that pool even more for EG. I'm expecting the Galio to be going into the support role, and that's why I mentioned that, but now jungler's the focus for EG.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because EG still have a lot of flexibility in their draft, right? This Pantheon can play top, mid, support, jungle, right? True. You don't really know what this is going to be doing, and Galio, you know, flexible, but not flexible to the same degree. You can't throw this in 4 roles, you can only throw it in 2. And with the double junglers getting banned away, I really like this because, you know, even though Jax Camille is fairly variant, it is still a skill matchup, and I don't expect that Warwick to get picked up, but Camille is very, very good at establishing opportunities for dives with characters like the Lilia and the Nidalee. So taking them off the table just means that Armenia has to find something else to do.
Yeah, I'm also just going to call out, there's no way that Pantheon's going topside. They already got the Jax locked in to deal with the Camille, but it's the J4. Wow, this is a lot of wombo combo. Not only do they have the Camille Galio, they also have the J4 Galio. They're really indexing on this dive.
Yeah, I mean, it really makes the dive very, very easy to do, but Jarvan's not great. He's just not a very strong champion right now. He doesn't do a lot of damage. He's not particularly tanky. And the thing about his crowd control when compared to Camille's is people can flash out of it. There are ways to escape it in ways that is not true for his top lane counterpart. So I'm a little bit surprised that this is what they're choosing to fall back on this early on in the draft. And I mean, I really like the flexibility from Cloud9. Team Liquid, they have a plan. They're sticking to it.
Hey, I'm calling it right now. That's a J4 jungle. They're going Nocturne mid. They're going all in on this dive composition. We'll see. But I do like that they are still holding that mid lane counter, because if they can get a really strong AP mid lane counter and then pair that with the J4, J4 is notorious for those level 2 ganks, those that early pressure on the mid lane. They could try and snowball through there. There's just not that many great... I mean, Syndra's gone already. Azir's kind of next on the list. We have seen a lot of Azir, but I have not been convinced with the Azir play so far in Academy. We'll see if Harry is able to show me how to actually pilot this champion. But overall, I'm liking Evil Genius's answers to Team Liquid. The Thresh also makes a lot of sense. Getting Xayah out of there, getting Jax out of there, anybody who's stuck in that Jarvan ultimate. And then also Orianna providing the extra shield and says, hey, yeah, everybody dive in. Everybody, Galio, Camille, Jarvan, everybody hop in here, because then I'm just going to ult you all at once and try and kind of counterplay your engage.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting about this Azir pick is, why I was going to criticize Team Liquid's composition for being a little bit low damage prior to picking up the Azir, but now the question is, they have plenty of damage, but can they even apply it? Azir kind of fulfills a nice role in being the second marksman that nobody's going to be paying attention to, and everybody else is focused on the front line in this kind of game, and so Harry might be able to get off a lot of damage throughout this entire thing, simply because, as we said, nobody's paying attention to him. You have to deal with the Camille, you have to deal with the Kai'Sa and the Galio and the Jarvan, who are now on your face, that it kind of becomes okay. It's kind of like filling in a Kog'Maw, like we see in a number of other compositions, but it does have a lot of execution that they got to get through in order to even do that in the first place.
Eyes on Harry, on the Azir in the mid lane, eyes on pretty much all of Evil Genius's. A lot to prove for this team. They picked up their first win yesterday. Can they do it again against the undefeated Academy team in week 2? We're loaded onto Summoner's Rift here, Joshi. And I mean, I don't want to talk too much about this year. It's exciting because I know it's the last pick, that big red 5. But another thing to note, you don't have to worry about using your ult to engage with this kind of composition. A lot of times I see Azir almost being like a primary or secondary engage tool, but hey, you can just hold that Emperor's Divide to peel that Pantheon, to peel that Jax, and really create space for yourself. So, I mean, the more I'm looking at Team Liquid's composition, the more I am starting to see what it's trying to do, and it is coming together, but it will need a little bit of time for Azir to get those items to actually be felt in the fights, whereas you look at Evil Genius's composition, I'm already seeing, one item. Once they all get their mythic, you already start to feel the pain of each of these champs.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see, because the Azir is fairly vulnerable to Pantheon just because it is a point-and-click crowd control, whereas Armeo gotta push 2 buttons and they're not automatically going to lock onto a single champion. So I feel like we have a very variant set of jungle players today, and it's going to be a big difference to see which one of them actually has a bit more success off the bat. Contract's going to be picking up the red buff, will have stronger ganks immediately in this game, but isn't necessarily going to be more successful. And so as both junglers start clearing the bottom side of the map, we might actually be getting the fabled 2v2 top lane like we used to so much for, I believe it was all of Season 8.
Meanwhile, Contract's going for the full clear on the bottom half, getting these Krugs while his bot lane shoves in, so might have to go a little slower towards that top half of the map. Armeo will be getting up there a little faster, but you're right, that top Scuttle Crab could be contested. We will most likely see Contract... Oh, no, actually, I think the ward expired. Team Liquid had a ward down there, but it just expired before Contracts walked by, so I don't think that they actually see him, or they didn't watch him path up towards those chickens, so they can maybe guess he's still on the bottom half of the map, but not perfect information for Team Liquid. Meanwhile, top side, the matchup of the Jax versus Camille, we've talked about it before. If you're not aware of how this matchup goes, Jax is picked into Camille because there's not much Camille can really do to go in on the Jax. It's pretty much a death sentence if you try and engage that. But then later on in the game, Camille's just going to group up. Jax is going to have to be providing that split push pressure, and it becomes this kind of cat and mouse game of who can catch who.
Yeah, and as we say that, the flash gets burned. So something that we haven't really touched on yet, King, is the fact that Jenkins opting to pick up the Ignite on this Camille instead of the flash. And one, that kind of turns a little bit of what you were talking about around. Suddenly, Camille has a lot more kill pressure. And the reason why this is traditionally such a skill matchup is the fact that Camille has enough movement speed after using the Q, and especially once you pick up the axe, that you can just walk away from the counter-strike and try and wait for the Jax to come in, use the stun, and then turn it around because you're suddenly going to have all of your damage still available, whereas Jax just used all of his buttons. But it doesn't look like we're going to get the 2v2, as it is going to be both Contracts and Armeo backing away, but Contracts was the one who actually picked up the Scuttle Crab.
And Contracts is still on the top half of the map. It's slow pushing towards Tony Top, so we could see it, but actually action on the bottom half. Flash out from Mystiques already. The taunt comes through. One more auto, the heal from Short. He barely keeps him alive, but Ignite from Ayla will say, nope, we get first blood.
Yeah, wow. Did you see that dodge coming out from Ayla? I thought for sure that hook hit him anyway, but now Jenkins got attention in the top.
Yep, Jenkins in trouble. This is what happens when you don't have to flash. The hook shot's going to have to be used perfectly here. He's holding on to it, but there's still the point-and-click stun here from Contract. They flash for Jenkins. No way he gets out. There we go. Contracts with a Q. Will pick it up. Does he trade? Oh, a sliver of health has to shield. Okay, no, that one auto's not going to be enough. Right?
He's over 20.
Ooh. But meanwhile, bots, they're just diving under turret. Okay, sure, you goes down. Ayla, flash, probably flash taunt to engage that. We'll have to get a replay to see what exactly transpired on the bottom half of the map, but Team Liquid answer with a kill of their own.
Yeah, the crazy thing to me is that if Jenkins had used the Ignite, that would have been a kill onto Contracts and would have been massively winning for Team Liquid across the map. But this is good so far. Armeo, no actual threat on him at this point. Is looking fairly good. They're having opportunities to be aggressive, and we'll get to see exactly how this fight ends up shaking. Oh, this is the first fight. Yeah, Ayla gets a good dodge, and suddenly Mystiques is just taking way too much damage from Kaisa, and unfortunately, they don't disengage quickly enough, even despite using the flash immediately. So really good play, and this is
Armeo just passed right down.
Yeah, he just came. Wow, okay. Super clean.
Yeah, and also a little awkward there from the bot laner Shoryu. He doesn't actually take the Lantern from Mystiques. He opts to flash instead. I think if you take that Lantern and then flash after, maybe, just maybe you get out of that one. But either way, well played by Team Liquid, really punishing this bottom half of the map here from EG. Mystiques and Shoryu, they had a great game yesterday, but already off to a pretty rough start.
Yeah, this is a pretty big difference as well in the itemization that will touch on a little bit after we see how Contracts chooses to play this. There is level 6 on Jojo Pune, so if Harry gets too far forward, he can die very quickly.
Contracts does not have his passive stacked up, but he just goes in. There's the stun onto Harry. There's Emperor's Divide. Shockwave doesn't pull him in the right direction. So Harry will get out and does not need to burn flash. Well played. Calm head, not panic flashing when he didn't need to, so just ultimate cooldown is off.
Yeah, that's really good. And so far, Team Liquid's lanes are looking really good. Jenkins has built up a CS advantage for himself, even though it will get mostly neutralized from this position after this wave does crash. He still has an opportunity to look for something, and wow, look at this. Contract just going lane to lane to lane, looking for ganks as Pantheon is supposed to do. And Armeo's here, but he is so low.
Jenkins, got to be careful here. Still doesn't have that flash. Holding that hook shot. Oh, Exec Ultimatum, actually, and the hook shot out. The stun will go through, but well played by Team Liquid's top laner. Jenkins doesn't need Kennen to have quick feet. Does get out of that gank.
Ooh.
Armeo's here. I don't know if they can win this. Yeah, Jenkins, ooh, right as I credit him, he walks a little far forward. Contract sticks around, picks up another kill for his trouble. Man, Contract put up the tent topside. That's what, 3 ganks in a row, technically? Maybe not in a row, but 3 ganks at 7 minutes.
And so far, he's being rewarded for it, right? He's got 2 kills for himself, and even though Armeo has been farming a little bit more heavily, this isn't what Jarvan does. It's not how Jarvan succeeds, but this bot lane might succeed.
Ayla just jumps in onto Mystiques. Yeah, the Thresh still in trouble. Jan picking up the kill. Sure, you could go down here, too. Not enough space for Jan to play around with that turret there. So just 1 pickup for Team Liquid's bot lane.
Yeah, this is really big. Shoryu isn't level 6 yet. Mystiques doesn't have the flash. And unfortunately, we might be seeing the Mystiques from week 1 instead of the Mystiques from yesterday, which looked really good. And oh boy, I don't know if you can actually stick around here all that well. It looks like Team Liquid are going to be prioritizing picking up the objective rather than trying to die for further kills. So Shoryu is rewarded for sticking around, but this is not great for EG, right? They have Pantheon.
I think that's fair to say. Yeah.
Good, but Pantheon will eventually fall off, so it feels like they're kind of on a timer before Jan just kind of wins the game as Kaisa.
The good thing is that Jenkins still doesn't have Flash. He opted for that Ignite, and I think it's safe to say Jenkins should not be in a position to really win out with that against Tony Top. I guess maybe still if they find themselves in an isolated 1v1, he has an opportunity or a chance, but Camille as a champion still provides a lot in team fights, right? It still combos with that Galio. It still can follow up with a Kaisa diving in onto Jojo Pune, onto Shoryu. So Contract's having the kills. He's going to need to continue snowballing this, but eventually snowball it into his laners. You got to get some gold on this Orianna. You really want some gold on the Xayah and the Jax so that they can start doing what they want to do. So I think Evil Geniuses in the early game, they say, yeah, we have some bright spots because of Contract's performance, but now they need to translate that into gold elsewhere. Whereas Team Liquid, they're happy with their gold where it is on Yan. I guess Ayla got 2 kills, but still, the bottom half looking strong.
Yeah. Oh, and this is what we're talking about.
Yeah, Tony Top in a lot of trouble top side. Team Liquid can just dive in. There is the flash, and Pantheon ult save. Gets one, should pick up another one right here. Never mind. Give Contracts all the kills. This guy is carrying.
Oh, man. I was just about to praise Jenkins for his, good play, dodging the Counter-Strike, and then Contract shows up, right? There's not a whole lot further they can do. And this is why I'm not a big fan of this Jarvan pick, right? Like, it doesn't do any damage, right? It was also just there. They end up giving a kill immediately over, and the Contracts, who we said was kind of on a timer, suddenly accelerating really, really quickly, and it makes it that much easier to contest for these objectives, to look for dives on the bottom lane, and get Shoryu ahead. But it's still, I touched on this a little bit last time. The concept of the beatdown comes from a lot of card games in particular. The beatdown is a team or the player that needs to do things because they will lose if the game just goes late. And EG are still the beatdown. Contracts still needs to be looking for opportunities to make these plays, because if he ever stops and just gives Team Liquid time to scale, well, Azir Kaisa are going to show you why that's a very bad idea with how much damage that they do.
Josh, I don't know if you realize how big of an OG Yu-Gi-Oh fan I am right now, but the moment you said beatdown, I got really excited. But it also, I like how it does translate here to League of Legends, so that's cool. I like how your brain works, man. Providing some great insight here. So we'll see if EG can just keep making the things happen. We'll see if Team Liquid keep forcing their things. They got multiple members here trying to help out with the Rift Herald. Don't know who got that smite, actually. I think it might have been Contracts. Yeah, Team Liquid's not going for Tony Top over the wall. No one can actually get in. Oh no, Jojo Pune gets shuffled back, flashes forward, but Ayla's in the neighborhood. Harry's donated the kill, and Team Liquid find a out-of-position mid laner.
Yeah, something that's actually been really impressing me with Harry so far on this Azir is he's not making flashy plays with his character. He's just being really smart about how his abilities are used, and he didn't have to flash, he didn't have to shriek and shuffle there. He's just like, oh, you're on that side of me? Alright, cool. I'm gonna push you over that direction, and there's nothing left for Jojo Pune to do. So that was really good by Ayla, and good job for Team Liquid to deny the pickup of the Rift Herald. Contracts did win the smite fight, but unfortunately with too many members of Team Liquid around, couldn't pick it up at all. And with so many members up here, we might see a repeat. Tony Top does need to be careful, but it looks like they're going to be backing away instead.
Tony Top has been playing a pretty strong weak side second half of this game. I know it's weird to say because we're only 12 minutes in, so we really haven't had like a first half, second half yet. But early on, it was just constantly Contracts top side helping Tony Top out. But since then, it's just been Tony Top absorbing pressure, absorbing plays, not dying. Meanwhile, Jojo Pune finds himself in a really rough position. That was a pretty cool ultimate, buddy, but really not going to accomplish much at the end of the day as 4 members from Team Liquid secure a second kill onto Jojo Pune.
That was rude. Dude, all those champions just jumping on top of Orianna. Not a whole lot that he could have done in that situation, so don't really fault him for that one whatsoever. But the big thing is now Team Liquid, with extra people on the map for the next couple of seconds, are going to be first to actually come over to this dragon, going to be able to get their second dragon of the game, and start bringing the soul point as an opportunity for them to actually have an additional win condition in this game. Because Harry is going to be a lot stronger than Jojo Pune for this actual fight. He's got the extra boots, he's got the extra crowd control reduction, so he's not going to be as vulnerable to if Contracts ends up jumping.
And also, we just saw Jojo Pune use that teleport to get to that mid wave, so doesn't have that to help out with the dragon, but is back into the mid lane. Meanwhile, bot side, Flash Force out of Mystique's Thresh, not in the best position there. It's a tough call to make here as the Thresh player. Oftentimes you want to play behind your carries so that you can be the one to lantern them out, but Mystique's, that's twice now. He's had to use Flash to get away from the Galio Justice Punch into taunt, so have to keep watching Mystique's. I had a great performance yesterday, but you said it yourself, Joshi. Not always the best. Pantheon ulting in, trying to go for the deep plays. Jumps onto Armeo, but Armeo does have some mobility. Should be able to get out of this one. Just baiting them into the bush so that Jan can be there. Tries to go in. Galio with the re-engage, but that's already a jungler down. Harry trying to find the re-engage for himself. Jenkins finally joining in on the fight, but it might be too late. Evil Genius is doing a pretty good job here of positioning, but right as I say it, it's all over. Team Liquid, they bait it out. They wait out the cooldowns. They reposition, and they find their avenue to shut down Evil Geniuses in their play. Tony Top and Mystique's the last members alive, but they're under their turret, and Team Liquid, with 4 members strong, earned themselves this dragon.
Yeah, there was really good play coming out from Jan and Harry in particular throughout this team fight. It's going to give them the dragon, and it's going to give them a lot more opportunity to continue counting up this dragon. I've said for a long time, individual dragons, not particularly important. They're nice, but they're not super helpful. And oh my gosh, the Cloud Soul, so good for Team Liquid. They definitely high rolled that one, but we'll get back to that discussion in a minute because we got to pay attention to how Team Liquid actually break down this team fight. And it looks a little bit weird, right? Armeo is a little bit caught out. There's a lot of damage put onto him, but watch how Jan actually plays this team fight. He gets a lot of damage down onto contracts, and then he's like, oh, Tony Top is there? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave. I'm going to get onto the other side of all of this fight, and he's able to navigate in such a way that he's not really under threat this entire time, and Harry on the other side is just able to rain down auto attacks from his soldiers.
And also in the mid lane there as we come back to live in the game. Oh no, contracts. Caught out of position here. Can't take the lantern. There's too many members of Team Liquid body blocking where he wanted to click. Judge Pune was also very low on health. So Team Liquid just dominating as they've transitioned this lead into the mid game. 3,000 gold up. They're on 2 dragons. Still haven't cracked that first turret yet, but with their composition, that's bound to happen eventually as you're just pounding down on these. And also topside, yeah, just 1v1 Shoryu. Oh, that's impressive 80 carry performance right there.
Yeah, this is really big. Jan has been looking really good on this guy so far. Able to find that kill, and he still has the killer instinct available. He didn't even need to use that.
That was
going to reward.
Shield, though, too.
Yeah. Oh, that's a Gale Force, but...
Oh, that's a Gale Force? Oh, it's so, okay, my bad. Good catch, Joshi.
Yeah, but we'll get to see it again, right? This is kind of the danger, and why I said Kai'Sa was kind of the other Nocturne, is just able to get on top of them. Didn't have the ultimate, so didn't need to use it, and just jumps on top of you and kills you because of how much damage they do. And now they have the Collector, which is going to give them a lot more gold and a lot more damage coming out from the rest of the game. But he is up 60 CS already at only 16 minutes into the game. More than 10 CS a minute, and very likely to carry it from this position.
When we were going into this game, I was looking at Shoryu on Evil Geniuses saying, yeah, he had good performance yesterday, but overall in Academy has not looked like a top 80 carry prospect. I was saying maybe they go for the Moonstone strat themselves. Maybe they try and get Shoryu away from these high, mechanically intensive 80 carries. And I thought Xayah kind of lines up with that, right? You play more defensive. You have this self-peel, and you play more for the team fights, but that has not been the case so far. 3 deaths on one of the more defensive 80 carries. Not the position that you want to find yourself in against Team Liquid's composition that still has all these engage tools, all these diving tools, and so much control over the game. They rotate multiple members up, most likely to take this Rift Herald. It is started up here, and I don't think there's any contests by Evil Geniuses.
Yeah. I don't want to be too biased. I've thought that Shoryu has been one of the better 80 carry prospects, in the Academy amateur scene for a while. And I still think he is playing about as well as he can considering the situation, because Ayla has been looking really good on this Gallery. He's been outplaying Mystique's over and over with that E, dodging out on the hooks, and we might just see a little bit more of that as Contracts just gets caught out.
Yep. Once again, that's the same. That's like twice in a row in that specific spot of the jungle. Pantheon does not have mobility to get away. He can go in, he cannot get out. So Contracts just really needs to respect the control that Team Liquid has over the river right now, with multiple control wards down, multiple members grouped around mid side. So with Contracts going down, that's an easy pickup of the mid turret here for Team Liquid, just furthering their lead.
Yeah. And this is the thing that I wanted to say about Shoryu is he's very good when he doesn't necessarily need to do a whole lot and just wave clear, and he performs rather well by playing these team fights rather aggressively, but he's not necessarily the best player at playing from behind, and currently he is very far behind. He is down an entire item compared to Yon, and if he's going to continue playing forward like he is, he's going to need a little bit more support. And I feel like this kind of comes back to the discussion we had at the beginning of the day, King, is before the broadcast actually started that you and I were talking about. EG have a lot of people who want a lot of resources, and it's unclear how they want to share them on the map. Today, Contract spent a lot of time top lane with Tony, and kind of left Shoryu out to dry to some degree.
Shoryu has definitely not gotten the investment, I think, if we want to put it that way. You're right. Yeah. Contracts indexing heavily to the top half of the map. I think that still makes sense for what they're trying to do, but they just haven't transitioned that into anything else because it was Contracts getting the kills. It wasn't like they were feeding this Jax to then be a monster in the side lane that Jenkins can't deal with anymore. Jenkins has more kills. I would argue, I mean, less CS, but probably fairly close in the gold department and can at least hold off Tony Top for right now. Tony Top has not yet reached that point where he's just unstoppable in a 1v1 side lane situation. And now they even have Harry, which I like even more because this Azir, I mean, what is a Jax supposed to do? Azir has so many options to get away from Jax and can just hold him stuck in this side lane. But Team Liquid obviously focusing the objectives. They get this next Cloud Drake, and this will put them on Dragon Soul.
Yeah. And one of the things that I was excited about for this Dragon was the fact that the ultimate cooldown reduction is nice from each individual Cloud Dragon. And you can go for a lot of fights that you wouldn't normally be able to. Team Liquid haven't really been concerned with that. They haven't been fighting off cooldown with their ultimates. This is bold. I don't think they're going to be rewarded for this, but it gives them a lot of movement speed after they use all those ultimates, so the team fights become really good, but they have no idea. They might actually get rewarded for this.
They might. There's a chance that Evil Geniuses take this. They're taking it fairly slow, but
okay, Team Liquid knows.
They can actually burst this down. They're teleporting in. They're full committing. Look at Azir. Harry hasn't used teleport yet. Might need to quickly here. Is starting to channel it. Shockwave used.
No! Contracts.
Contracts is down. It's Baron over to Team Liquid. Oh, it's disaster for Evil Geniuses. Team Liquid saying thanks for the leash. We'll take the objective. We'll take almost an ace. It's just Jojo Bune who gets out. 4-0 plus Dragon. Team Liquid. Oh, what a position to be in. They might just end the game off that play.
They have a Rift Herald, they have the Baron. That's not often that you can say that you have both at the same time, King is. This might actually be just the game off of that load.
We might get a Dancing Herald here, Joshi. There's
Shelly.
Baron waves. They gonna clear the wave here. Okay, does Team Liquid want to go for it? I think that they should. They still have 5 members
up.
they
can.
They can definitely look to end. Nexus turret number 1 falls. Nexus turret number 2. The Herald will not dance, but can the same be said for Evil Geniuses? They got one last attempt here to tangle with Team Liquid, and it's just not going to be it. Contract's already taking a lot of damage. Ayla focusing the bottom half. Contract's already down. Team Liquid just need to clean up the fight. 5v4 Harry with the insane engage. Shurima shuffling in. The game was already over. Nexus falls. Team Liquid remained undefeated at the end of week 2.
We had a lot of questions for Team Liquid at the beginning of the day, King, is are they going to be able to play if they ever fall behind? And there was a moment where Contracts was absolutely nutty in this game, but Team Liquid, they remained calm. They were able to play a lot better this time. They were able to make a lot of plays around the mid lane, catch Contracts out multiple times, and luckily enough for them, Contracts fell right into their trap. And from there, it was just over. Like, there's not a whole lot that Team Liquid can really do once they have advantages in every single spot.
And after that performance, I am starting to buy into the Team Liquid hype train. You know, the only team to remain undefeated. Based on their game 1 of the season, I wasn't too sold that this team was actually like going to be dominant. I was like, okay, they've gotten some wins. Maybe it's strength of schedule. Maybe it's a little bit of luck. Maybe it's just Dignitas throwing under turrets. I'll stop talking about that game. But this game, this was clean. This was good League of Legends coming in from Team Liquid. Contracts got a couple kills early on. There were some awkward, over forces, not respecting the Pantheon ult. But after that, 10-minute mark, Team Liquid played that very, very well. Yeah, it was a bit of a throw. I mean, they caught it. They got the Baron. That's basically a free win that they were given, but they were in the position to continue scaling and do well in the late game anyway. So I don't think that Evil Geniuses had many other options to go for to really come back. And Congratulations, Team Liquid. You've made a believer in you. Let's see if they can go undefeated throughout the whole split.
Yeah, that's a tall task, but they're already almost halfway there. There are two players I do want to highlight a little bit off of this, and we talked about them previously. Ayla looked so good today down in the bottom lane. He was able to outplay Mystiques pretty consistently with that Justice Punch by dodging out the death sentences and immediately using them to engage afterwards. Got them a couple of kills multiple times, and he was just really everywhere on the map. Like, he was always there to support events that were happening, other than the first couple of times where Contracts, found opportunities up in the top lane. The other person is Harry. He was kind of quiet for most of the game, but he had a couple of really good spots where he was able to play very, very calmly. He was able to lock down members, and he was just doing basic competencies the entire time, but always in the right place, always knowing the basic things he could do, and looked way better than I think either of us were expecting based on the Azir pick.
Based on what I had seen from Jojo Pune, I was hyped about him going into this, but then Harry shows up and says, no, I'm the mid laner to watch in this game. That time in the river, Jojo Pune walks up, he's just like, okay, I'm just going to turn back and shuffle you back into my team, get a free pick. I think Harry had a very good game sense of where to be, what to do, and how to play out those fights. Not just the big 5v5s, but also those little skirmishes earlier on in the game. So happy that you highlighted that player. Congratulations, Team Liquid Academy going undefeated in the first 2 weeks. They've also been one of the biggest organizations to really hype up their academy squad on all their social medias. They're getting really behind the players, and I think that having this kind of momentum going into week 3, it's only showing promising signs for the organization going forward. So we're going to send it over a short break while we get ready for our interview with one of the Team Liquid players. I believe that we're going to have Jan, the AD carry, in the bottom lane. So stick around. You're not going to want to miss it, and we'll be right back. Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we're getting ready for game number 3 for week 2, day 2 of Academy LCS. But before that, we got a special interview with the bot laner on the undefeated team here in Academy. Jan, hop on in here. We get the opportunity to pick your brain, get to know you a little bit as a player. First of all, congratulations on the win. That was a pretty dominant performance, and what a crazy end to that game. You ended with Baron and Rift Herald. Talk me through just what the last 2 minutes were like of that game and what the comms sounded like.
The comms just sounded like we just didn't know what they were doing, and then I just remember someone calling, are they just on Baron or something? And then yeah, they just got wiped. We were just so ahead, and then we had Herald. Just it.
Hey, sometimes that's all you really need at that point. It looked really good. Talk to me a little bit more, Jan, because I know you had a stint with 100 Thieves Next for a little while, and this is your first team in the academy scene. What has been the transition like from playing in the amateur scene to suddenly playing in this team?
The transition wasn't too big. It's just probably the only thing is I have to keep my emotions in check while playing, because if I get frustrated, it's just there's no point in playing poorly like that. I don't know. The skill level is not as big as I thought it would be, but yeah, I think it's just my emotions I have to keep in check. And we'll
It's a very mature response. I like that take. And outside of just your time on 100 Thieves Next in the amateur circuit, if I'm just being honest, Gamepedia does not provide that much information, so I just want to give you the floor. What's your story, Jan? Where did you develop from, and how have you kind of had this meteoric rise over 1.5 years, going from amateur up to undefeated in Academy?
I just a year ago, I just joined a random team as a sub just to watch on how they play. I think I learned a lot from them. It was just some bunch of friends, and then I got an offer from 100 Thieves Next, and then it was just it. I just learned.
So it really is just as short as what Gamepedia is saying. You're just yeah, I feel like being a professional player. Let me just go ahead and do that. That's been really impressive so far, Jan. Do you have anything else you have to say to any of your fans, anybody else on Team Liquid that you want to shout out?
I'll just try to play better next time. Yesterday's game. I mean, today's game was I think the enemy played really poorly, but we just played standard. Yesterday was I played Senna. I haven't played Senna that much, but I think she's good. Hope I play better next week against FlyQuest and IMT. Just it.
Yeah, it's going to be a rougher week for you, but hey, you're still going in undefeated, the only undefeated team. So don't forget that and don't play that down. Congratulations, Jan, on another victory. Excited to see more of your play going forward, and best of luck in next week's games. We're going to send it over to another short break here while we get ready for our game 3 of the day. You're not going to want to miss it, so don't go anywhere.